Stop him!
The Art of Justice was definitely a concept I've always wanted to work on. It stands out from the rest of my content as it's one of the only few projects that focuses heavily on the Team Fortress 2 universe. It took a year for me to get the project out of the concept phases of development, and finally we have the end results. I avoided making another TF2 SFM animation of just another day in payload, capture the flag, or control points. I went instead for a personal goal that motivated the main characters to achieve them. I wanted something fresh and brand new, but also familiar. In my personal opinion, you don't need to have brand new characters and universes in order to have unique and creative storytelling. You are able to give brand new adventures for the characters you're already familiar with and love. And personally, that's what I felt like the Art of Justice have shown.
Holy crap!
We have the Scout who's had his special crate stolen from the Red Mercenaries, and he brings along his old friend, the Sniper, to help him get it back. What I love about the Art of Justice is the dynamic attributes the Scout and Sniper had in their character and teamwork. The Scout is this young, immature, and energetic person who's running around the place chasing for his goals, while the Sniper is a more older but wiser, more experienced person who prefers to achieve his goal in a more professional and quiet manner. But despite the differences between them, they work together to create their own methods of teamwork, and as a result, it shows both their advantages and disadvantages in their efforts. Their teamwork and difference in character was one of the things I've tried to showcase and achieve for this film. The ending was something I've always wanted to talk about. Due to the Saxy Wars, I had to cut the original ending from the original version of the film due to the 5-minute time constraint they had for the contest. And as a result, it had unfortunately taken a toll on my audience for a first-time experience, kind of leaving them confused with what the hell was in that damn crate. But either way, both the Saxy version and the original version of the film left with the conclusion that no matter what was in the crate, the fact that the Scout and the Sniper went through great lengths and pressure to steal it back shows the justice they've created for themselves, thus the Art of Justice. The story is set in 1974, very close to the time period the TF2 universe has always been set in. It's winter and they're in this snowy red base, and that was the setting I have always stuck with since day one in concept. I've done the majority of the mapping work myself using Blade X64's snow variant of Bad Water, while I've made heavy modifications for the rooftop and gas tank sequences. I've used 2Fort as a template to create the North Storage Lot bridge, while the storage lot itself was entirely mapped from scratch by me. Mapping for night scenes is always very challenging for the source engine. SFM is still running on a 32-bit engine, and it makes lighting much more of a hassle than it used to be. There would always be more than 150 SFM lights placed for every master shot, and I'd have the program crash on me more than I can count. The purpose of having this setting was again part of the agenda to bring something new but familiar for the film. These are maps and locations most TF2 players are familiar with, but the atmosphere in these maps are taken into this new gritty and realistically dark, but pretty and scenic environment. I didn't want the audience to believe they were watching another casual TF2 animation on YouTube. I wanted them to believe they were watching a feature film at a multiplex. At its core, the Art of Justice stands out for its passion for the cinema experience. I believe that every animation and every story you tell needs to be presented in the best way possible. And in my personal opinion, there's no better alternative than the way of the cinema. The music has been one of my favorite aspects in developing the Art of Justice. The film score is the icing of the cake when it comes to filmmaking. I've always felt that for the music, I've wanted a fusion of Hollywood orchestra and the 70s rock music Team Fortress 2 had in the game. The music, in terms of style, should be familiar yet unique to give the film an identity of its own, and that is where the theme song comes in. I had made up the concept of the theme song through FL Studio after a day or two writing it. When it comes to Hollywood scoring, my biggest inspirations have been Hans Zimmer, John Powell, and Lalo Schifrin. The theme song would have its own composition, yet have some room for TF2's theme song to come in as well, and as a result, this is what we'd have. This is the part most folks are probably excited about. I'd say about 80% of the film's animation was done with motion capture. This was also my first animated film to utilize the motion capture technology. I'd have 2 Xbox One Kinects, with each Kinect requiring their own computer, since supposedly 2 Kinects would have too much data input for Windows to handle. Each Kinect would also require their own power adapter, so you could imagine all the cables lying around in my 8x8 bedroom. Even with all the furniture I freed up in my bedroom, I'd still only have 2 feet of space to work with, which just made motion capture more of a hassle than it already was. Hand animation would only be used when it came to extreme movements, such as jumping on vents, sprinting through snow, climbing over rooftops, and etc. The list goes on. Looking back a year later, I still find The Art of Justice to be an astonishing achievement. It's far from the best looking SFM out there visually, but what I truly like so much about it is it's not just an SFM animation. It's a film that captures the experience and the essence of the cinema. The Art of Justice brings this adventure to the audience that allows them to become fully immersed in the world these characters are set in. This was my first animation where I truly feel that this could be shown at a movie theater. This was also my first film to have me better understand music scoring, and of course this was also my first big hit on YouTube. As long as I can bring the cinematic experience to my audience and bring them immersive storytelling as well, then I have reached my goal as a filmmaker.